It's been a year since I took my first sailing lesson. I took it to see if this might be something we were interested in doing as a family. Well, I passed that first test, and I was sold on the idea of sailing full time. Before we knew it, we'd found the kind of boat we wanted, so we flew to Florida. We met with Leopard, and we ordered one. And then we went back to life as normal. But we had a lot to do. We needed to sell some of our land so that we could afford this giant boat. And we both needed to learn a lot more about sailing. So we went down to Belize and spent a week sailing around on a catamaran, and we really got into the groove of what life could be like on one of these. We met really interesting people, and we saw pretty amazing things as we were cruising around. After Belize, we returned to a really rare Texas snowstorm, and we got back into the groove of things like working and learning how to tie knots. Along the way, I managed to charter my own boat by myself, and then we chartered a catamaran in the Bahamas by ourselves and discovered some new things as a family, like our first Anchorage sunset, our first real sail where we turned off the engines, and our first boat problem, and our second and third and fourth boat problems. But before we knew it, the kids were all heading back to school, and we just had a short amount of time to pack up everything we needed to drive it to Florida. We received word that our boat was finally done, so we took a short trip out to Fort Lauderdale to see the new boat, and she was awesome. So what do we do now? We road trip.
'Cause even in the madness, there is peace, drowning out the voices all around me. Through all of this chaos, you are writing a symphony, a symphony. Oh.
William, how many more days till we leave?
8.
William, how many more days?
7.
Say it with authority.
6. 5 days.
No. Hey, Will.
4 days.
What?
4.
Before I even asked.
4.
Like
3. 2 days.
I got.
1 more day.
How many more days? Turn around and look at me.
0.
How many? Wait, you gotta look.
None.
We broke the trip up into 2 parts. The first day we drove from Blanco to Pensacola.
All right, leaving Austin.
My buddy Fran came along to help out with the driving, and William went on the road trip as well. We listened to a book on Audible until we got to about Houston, and then we never listened to it again. This is Bob from What About Bob? He was sort of our co-pilot. I'll spare you pretty much all of Louisiana because it was a terrible drive. But we made it. We made it to Mississippi and then Pensacola. The next day was a much better drive. Getting from Pensacola to Fort Lauderdale was pretty straightforward, and it was actually really beautiful in the panhandle of Florida. There was nobody on the road. It was a great sunrise. As we started to make our way south, we ran into some rain, which is pretty typical for Florida this time of year. We also encountered a lot of traffic. The morning after we got there, we went straight to the boat to start handover. Our salesman Tom was doing the handover, and salesman's not the right term. Tom does everything. He does the handover and he does the post-sale support. He quickly walked me through a few of the systems, like starting the engines. We walked through the generator, how it operated, what you needed to check on it. He went over the control panel, and all of this stuff I already forgot. I'm glad I recorded it on video. I'll be able to go back and watch it and make sure that I got everything. And with that, we headed out. We were leaving Harbortown Marina, going just offshore to pull out the sails and take a look, make sure everything looked all right. The boys ended up enjoying the lounge right away. The sails and rigging all looked fine, and so we came back and started going through lots of other systems, like the anchor and windlass. There were a few little surprises, like a water filter. There's $500 I don't have to spend. And when we started digging through all the hatches and looking at the different systems, I just started to realize how much space was on this boat. The whole day was like this. We just went through system after system and reviewed how they operated, what to look for if there were problems, that sort of thing. It was really informative, and there was a lot to take in. After it was all done, we moved all of our junk onto the boat. So, after the long road trip and after unloading, the entire boat became quite a mess. But that's something we ended up dealing with for the week after that. That brings you up to speed to now, which is where we have the boat pretty much put away. So let me give you a 2-bit tour so you can see all the different cool places on the boat. The boat's a little dirty, but we'll wash that off tomorrow. We already did a couple of boat projects today and we're both a little pooped. This is a Leopard 45 Lounge Edition. So if you can see up there, there's a lounge. I'll take you up there in a little bit. And it has 2 engines. There's 2 45 horsepower diesel engines in here. The engine rooms are quite roomy. You can crawl down in there, and then behind here there's a ton of space. We're gonna get some shelving put in there so that we can store things like oil and filters and all that kind of stuff to keep everything in its place. This is the cockpit. So there's tons of storage in here. Underneath here is the life raft. We'll be moving that up to the top behind the helm so that we can get a little bit more space. This would be a better place for fins and that sort of stuff. There's another container here. This is where the gas is. There's a gas stove and oven. The oven isn't great. Stovetop is though. Another lounge area, a little bitty storage container there. That's the helm up there. One of the things we really liked about this boat is that you can be sailing and still be a part of what's going on down here. To give you an idea of size, you could probably fit 8+ people back here. There's tons of room. One super important thing is a fridge outside so you can put your sodas and beers and whatever inside of there. Quite handy access when you're hanging out here. So going up to the helm is really nicely laid out. Everything comes to the helm. You can control every line. You don't have to go up to the mast really for anything unless you're letting the lazy jacks down or something like that. There's really not a lot you need to do up there. The other nice thing is there's a lounge up here. So there's seating up here. So when you're underway, people can hang out. There are a couple of sun loungers and then enough seating for probably 6+ people up there. And you can be a part of it while you're sailing, which is really nice. You're not isolated up at the top and just being a bus driver to everybody. You can actually participate. So this is the lounge, and this is really what sold us on the boat. There's just no better place to be than to sit here and hang out. You get the breeze, you get the view, you're up high. It's just amazing. So I have a feeling we're going to be hanging out here a lot once we get sailing. Let me walk you inside. So this is the saloon, and that's William trying to sleep. And this also has massive amounts of storage in it. Down underneath the floors, there's a bunch of room for storing things. We have a lot of food down here, and then miscellany in these other 2 compartments. Underneath this bench is tools. There's a safe under there where William is laying down. Those are all board games and cards and stuff like that. There's storage even under the stool there. There's a lot of storage underneath this bench as well, and one of the modifications we'll be making in the next couple of weeks is putting in a cabinet around the back side of it so that we can get to it, because lifting off these cushions is kind of a pain in the butt. This is the nav station where I put my computer. I still have a whole bunch of gear out here, but we're gonna get a power plug inside of that cabinet, and then I'll put all the networking gear under there, and that'll free up a bunch of space up top. One of the other modifications we're gonna do is we're gonna close in this area up to about here, because it's just a hallway, and that'll give us a lot more space for more baskets to put a bunch of junk. The kitchen is pretty nice. There's a lot of room. I've cooked a couple of meals on here and it's great. There's a lot of space. It'll be different once we're out there moving around, but I think it'll be fine. There's a microwave that came with it. I think we're gonna get rid of that, and we'll get a toaster oven because we'd like to do mostly electric cooking. We're getting lithium batteries and a solar array and all that kind of stuff, and so electricity will be plentiful. Propane gas will not be. So we'll switch to electric as much as possible. We have 2 freezers. There's one freezer there, and the top one over here is a freezer, and then that's a fridge underneath. So we have a lot of refrigeration so that we don't have to go do too much provisioning over and over. We can get a bunch of stuff and pack up and be able to go for weeks or longer without needing to go back into a grocery store. So this is the forward cockpit. I don't know, they call it a lot of different things. This is a watertight door, so big waves can come up on the front and flood this thing, and it evacuates pretty quick. You can find some videos on YouTube of that. There's plenty of seating out here as well. There's a little table that folds up, and this gives you quick access to the front of the boat. So the windlass is right here. The anchor chain is stored underneath this, and the anchor is just in front of the trampolines here. Water tanks are down here, as long as we put a bunch of fenders there. The generator is inside of this hatch, and there's more storage there. There's a big 4-peak storage down here. We have one large sail in there, the code 0, and there's tons of room. I think we can shove our inflatable paddle boards in there and still have room for lots of other things. This 4-peak is actually a berth that you can get to from the port forward cabin. I'll show you that in just a minute. But there's just mountains of storage on this boat. Going down into the starboard side, we got a 4-cabin version. A lot of people do the owner's version, but we figure with so many kids and so many friends that we get the 4-cabin, and we're pretty excited about it. It adds a lot more storage space. So this is where Aaron and I sleep. It's about a queen size bed, and you can see there's a bunch of hardware and tools and stuff that I haven't put away yet, but I'm waiting on a tool bag from Amazon. Plugs everywhere. There's storage down here. There's a massive amount of storage underneath. Don't know if you can really see that. There's a small closet, not gonna fit Aaron's stuff, but that's the beauty of having 2 cabins over here. I have a feeling Aaron's gonna be taking all of the storage up here. The closet in here is quite large. I have all of her stuff sitting in there. Again, about a queen size bed inside of here. 2 drawers, another really deep storage hold there, and 2 bathrooms, full shower. That's engine oil and coolant, I think I need to go put underneath, and I'll do that once I get those shelves in the engine rooms. But yeah, full shower. There's a lot of room. It's a lot more comfortable than most boats and catamarans that I've been on. On the port side, we have an identical layout, and in this cabin, there's the that extra bed that I was talking about up there. That's all stuff that needs to be installed on the boat, so I just threw it up there. Underneath all of these beds is a massive amount of storage. If you look under here, I have these black and yellow containers that we brought all our junk here in, and you can actually fit 4 of them underneath the forward bunks. I filled up the starboard side. I have nothing to put in these on the port side, and hopefully I'll keep it that way. I'll just put some tools in here, the 1 wheel's down there, and that's about all that really needs to go in there. So again, just massive amounts of storage. And this is William's room. He said he cleaned it up. We'll take a look and see. Doesn't look very clean. All the lights are dimmable, which is kind of neat. Yeah, it's still kind of a mess, dude. Anyway, mirror image to the other side. Oh, look, somebody drank a soda. You're not supposed to have food or drink here. I see food, candy, and a soda. So that was the $2 tour of Symphony. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys soon once we get out on the water. Thanks for watching.